Well, we want the museums to treat our country fairly. We want the museums to talk about the history of our country in a fair manner, not in a woke manner or in a racist manner, which is what many of them, not all of them, but many of them are doing.
It's Ken Harbaugh with the MeidasTouch Network. We are living in George Orwell's 1984. He wrote, "The most effective way to destroy people is to deny and obliterate their own understanding of their history." I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that the Trump regime is trying to destroy America, at least as I know it. And that is an America that aspires to be the best version of itself, not to go backwards in an attempt to recreate a past that never actually existed. I've talked often here about my ideas on patriotism. I fly this flag behind me proudly, not because of what America once was, but because of the promise it still holds for all those who come here. That's what I mean by aspirational. And that is what Donald Trump is trying to destroy. He wants us to forget our history so that he can control our story going forward. It's a tactic pulled directly from fascist regimes throughout history. And who better to talk to about that than, you guessed it, Kris Goldsmith, the founder of Veterans Fighting Fascism. Here's our conversation. Welcome to the Ken Harbaugh Show. We've got Kris Goldsmith back. He is the founder of Veterans Fighting Fascism, which holds accountable extremists across the country, extremists who are now in our government. Kris, we've now got this announcement from the Smithsonian that the Holocaust Museum is pausing an exhibit for a renovation about America and the Holocaust. I think the title is Americans in the Holocaust. Obviously, references to the St. Louis and our complicity in the early days of that unfolding catastrophe. But this is following on the heels of Trump's executive order to eradicate, quote, improper ideology from the Smithsonian Institution. A lot to talk about here. Over to you.
So if you ask a historian or a political scientist what fascism is, and you ask another, you're probably not going to hear exactly the same definition. Fascism is kind of an amorphous thing. It's as a Supreme Court justice described pornography, you know it when you see it. But one of the core tenets of fascism is a mythology, is a belief in a greater past, in which requires a rewriting of history so that you can move forward into this make-believe land. That is what fascism is. It is a belief that there was greatness in the past and we need to bring it back and in order for our country to move forward. So it is no surprise to see Donald Trump, telling museums what they are and are not allowed to display, telling schools what they are and are not allowed to teach, because the fascists in our country, whether it's Moms for Liberty or the Proud Boys, have been, basically doing what Hitler's brown shirts were doing before they got into government. It's like banning and burning fucking books.
The mythology is such an important thing to understand about the autocrats' playbook, right? And it goes straight to the slogan, "Make America Great Again." It's evocative of a golden age that didn't exist, and it also taps into deep-seated grievances. This idea among white Americans that our greatest days are behind us unless we have a savior come and restore them. And that clearly comes through in Trump's tweets, or what do we call them now? Truths. I don't know, whatever they are on Truth Social, where he says, let's stop talking about how bad slavery was. That should have been the wake-up call that he was coming after the Smithsonian and its mission of telling the truth. But it shocked me at how short-lived that scandal was. Now he's back after the Holocaust Museum, and I'm sure he's going after any institution of government that tries to tell the truth about America's past, much less its present.
Yeah. This makes me think about the last 10 years of my life and how I didn't recognize "Make America Great Again" as a fascist slogan 10 years ago. I just turned 40. 10 years ago, I did not have a degree in political science. I had not read any of the books behind me. But by the way, this is the reading list. Most of this is required reading for my degree. I did not understand what fascism was. So I don't blame the average American who just had a high school education for not immediately recognizing "Make America Great Again" as a fascist slogan. I did not know that this was a slogan that American self-described fascists and Nazis used in the 1930s, prior to World War II. I did not know the history of the fascist movement that, was sabotaging American troops and manufacturing here stateside with explosives, with blowing up factories as close to me in New York as in New Jersey. This is all an important history that is currently not being taught and has not been taught through the high school curriculum. And I think that in the age of the internet, younger and younger people are now becoming familiar with this history. And that is what is causing such a strong movement towards justice, far beyond what the civil rights era was able to achieve.
Hey, it's Ken Harbaugh. Quick break to say thank you to everyone who's been following and supporting this show and this channel. None of it happens without you. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my Substack page, I'd really appreciate the follow. It's a great way to make sure you never miss an episode. It's free to sign up. And if you're able to pitch in a few bucks, every dollar goes back into the show. Just search for The Ken Harbaugh Show on Substack or click the link below. Thanks.
The Black Lives Matter protests were a response not only to the injustice of watching George Floyd murdered on camera, right? It is not just because of the social media moment that allowed that to be amplified across America and around the world. It was because the context of that lynching was different, because more people understood that that was not an anomaly, that was not just one bad cop. People started a broader section of Americans with this greater understanding of history that we have all developed over the last 10 years or so, put that moment into a different context that built movements. And right now, more Americans, because of what we are seeing, American troops deployed onto the streets of Washington, D.C., about to be deployed into cities like Chicago and New York, having already been in Los Angeles. More Americans recognize this for the threat that it is. So as bad and as terrible as all of this may feel, it is good that we recognize it as wrong, because more people are with us. And this is not popular. And in order for a fascist to rule, they have to have popular support. Donald Trump does not. And it is only getting worse from here. So a lot of people see a bleak future, but he does not have the wind at his back with popular support of other fascist leaders. He has technology that they did not have. He has more money and power that they did not have. So it is not a direct historical parallel, but he does not have those critical elements of a successful fascist ruler. And that's why I want to encourage people, as shitty as this all feels, you're recognizing that it feels shitty is a good thing, because that makes you want to fight, and you should.
How do you understand the relationship between erasing or rewriting those chapters of our history that challenge this notion of American greatness in the past and the attempts to control the truth in the present? Because they're inextricably linked.
So whether it's from 1984 or Rage Against the Machine, the phrase "who controls the past now controls the future, who controls the present now controls the past." I grew up with Rage Against the Machine. I did not understand that the way that I do now. The attempts to control the past and the way that we interpret the past gives the people who are currently in control of our government, of our society, the ability to shape the future. That is why they are backward looking, because if they can reshape that, they can eliminate paths that we otherwise could go down towards more justice, more fairness, whether it's, in the criminal justice system or the economy. They want to cut off the avenues of success for Americans by eliminating the highway that they would otherwise be able to get there.
That was part 1 of my conversation with Kris Goldsmith. Stay tuned for part 2 later this week, where we talk about some of the specifics of Trump's executive order to eradicate improper ideology from not only America's museums, but from the National Zoo. I wish I were kidding. Stay tuned. See you soon.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.